Welcome, everybody, to Start Peninsula's Meet the Resource event. This is the second year that we are doing this. So successful the first year that we decided we're going to do it again this year. We have a great lineup set and ready to go. Before anything, though, I want to make sure that we recognize our sponsors. This would not be possible if it was not for you. So the City of Hampton, City of Newport News, City of Poquoson, City of Williamsburg, James City County, York County, you all make this possible. Without your support, Start Peninsula wouldn't be what it is. We've been able to do this for several years. We've had a lot of great outcomes from different founders as a result of Start Peninsula. So this is really, really awesome. One of the things that's really difficult is there's a lot of support out there. Founders are super busy. One of the pain points they have is where do they turn to in order to find the most direct path to being successful. And this is one of these events that we can do to help you find that path towards success. So we reached out, tried to made contact with all the resources out there that can help you with that path. So we have a great lineup today. We have you'll hear about economic development offices across the peninsula. You're going to hear from Retail Alliance, patent portfolio builders, where you can turn to for all your IP and patent needs. 757 Startup Studios, Virginia ICAP program, the Hampton Roads Small Business Development Center, 757 Makerspace, 757 Accelerate, the Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, William & Mary, Black Brand, StartWheel. We have all of these resources that are designed to help you get to where you want to go. And we've worked everything in a way that that everything is somewhat in order in terms of how the progression of how things would work. But first and foremost, Start Peninsula, we are there to be the platform that you can validate your business idea. So before you quit your job, before you get a second mortgage on your home, before you max out your credit cards, first thing you want to do is identify what that problem is, make sure that you're solving that problem, and make sure that you have customers so that they're going to purchase that problem or pay for the pain point that you are solving. So Start Peninsula is the way to validate your business idea. Then you can go on down the line and you can continue to build your business. We're going to kick things off first with economic development. They are the ones that are putting the skin in the game. They are the ones that are providing the support that we need. Every year when we do Start Peninsula, we rotate from locality to locality. So last year, it was the city of Newport News. This year, the host locality is the city of Hampton. And we are going to hear from Dan Girouard, and he is going to give us a little insight about what economic development is and how they support you. So Dan.
The economic development, we work with existing businesses. We try to attract new businesses, and really we strongly work on business retention. But the other thing we really like to do is reach out to entrepreneurs. So the way we're doing that is for the past 10 years, the economic development organizations of Hampton, Newport News, Poquoson, Williamsburg, and the counties of James City and York have helped, as Tim said, fund Start Peninsula. And the purpose we have there is that we really want to reach out to entrepreneurs and help them realize the dream of creating a business, growing a business. And we do that also by providing mentorship, networking opportunities like today. And we help provide some funding opportunities like through Start Peninsula. If you take part in a pitch competition, some localities have varying incentives. So you're going to have to reach out and contact each one of your local economic development organizations to find out what they can do to help you financially. Start Peninsula really can help you launch your business idea towards success and we host these pitch perfect workshops, informal informational sessions like today, and we have pitch competitions that are held throughout the year. One of the things we can also do is encourage you to visit the Start Peninsula website, because we have a number of resources on there, especially a map and a listing of all the what we call the entrepreneurial network that's here in Hampton Roads. And we really encourage you to look at that as a resource to find people that are here today to talk to you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Tim.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan. And one thing that for those that are listening, I want to make sure that hey, if you have any questions, we're putting everyone's contact information in the chat, but feel free to use the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, or you can reach out directly via the chat if you have a specific question for anyone that is presenting. You're going to hear, this is a fast-paced event that each presenter or pitcher, if you will have 5 minutes just to briefly talk about who they are, what they do, how they can help you, so that you can then determine the pathway or who to best contact to help you along your journey. So this will be a fun event, and we're going to keep things really, really fast paced. Next up, we have the Retail Alliance, and the Retail Alliance has been partners of ours for the past several years. What we do, in addition to kicking in some seed funding for those people that do participate in Start Peninsula, they win the final pitch competition. They get $5,000 in seed funding, but we have organizations that also kick in some prize packages as well. And Retail Alliance is one of those that have done that in years past. They've been a great supporter for the community, great supporter of Start Peninsula. And I am now going to kick things over to Kylie from Retail Alliance, and you can take it away.
Thanks, Tim. So I'm Kylie Ross-Sibert, Retail Alliance, and I've been here like 10 years in the job, so I sort of know a little bit about what we do. I'll try and be quick, but Retail Alliance has been around since 1903. We are a retail merchants association, so a little bit like a chamber, but we focus on retail and restaurants and small business as well. So we have a focus of education, advocacy, networking, but for entrepreneurs, we really have a great program that we started a few years back that has cohorts every year to learn how to run the business of retail. It is it's called the Certificate in Retail Operations, called CROPS in short, but it runs through the whole gamut of how to run a retail business. So it includes accounting and HR and business planning, and you end up with a business plan at the end. It's but the big part of it, that's the retail part, is the merchandising and inventory management, which is one of those things that if you don't know what you're doing, it can bankrupt your business. So we really try to focus on those aspects. But it will actually, what we've done in the past, and I know this sounds terrible, but some businesses or some business ideas, you may have a passion to get into business on it, but it's not always a great business idea. So what we try and do is to work out whether it is with you or not. And we have a membership that goes along with that for Retail Alliance, which provides some education, as well as our CROPS program. We have what we call our Strives, which are webinars on different social media, marketing and customer service, all of that sort of stuff. But we also do networking events, meet and greets, just like a lot of the other organizations that you will be introduced to. So we get together business owners and really try and get them to talk to each other and help each other. We have things like think tanks, which do the same thing, really deep dive confidentially into issues that you may have in your business. So we run from a gamut of being a startup right through to supporting you as you go along the journey of being a retailer or restaurant. But we sort of, under retail, we incorporate pretty much anything that sells to a consumer. So that could be, whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a service type based business as well. So apart from that, we help with promotion, public relations. We have our Lover program, LOVEVA, Love VA, which is a buy local app, which rewards consumers for keeping your dollars in the community and buying local. So that is also something that is a free download for our consumers and community in Hampton Roads. It's a locally designed app and one that we maintain through Retail Alliance. The other thing is, yes, as Tim said, we give away a membership to the winners of Start Peninsula each year. So apart from that, just letting you know, September 22nd, we actually have Retailer of the Year, which is an awards event first time in 3 years, we'll be back in person. And that is awarding basically peer voting of the best retailers in different categories. And we're holding it at the Aerospace Museum in Hampton. So a good thing for peninsula-based sort of businesses. So that'll be a great celebration of the industry. Wow, I think that was under 5 minutes.
You did great. You did great. And we're actually, we're ahead of schedule. So if there's anything that, anything else that you have, by all means.
Oh, let me just think. Oh, the other thing we do is have people on the ground. So we have someone who is called Beth Cook, who people may have met last year when she was sort of doing a similar thing. She is our membership relations advisor for the peninsula. So she's on call basically for you anytime, where she'll answer any questions, collaboration with other business owners and mentors, and just try and help in any way that we can on the ground. So that's a real benefit of being part of Retail Alliance.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support, your continued support. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Contact information has been shared.
You can have my email address too. I really don't mind. I don't know if
and we will make sure that we share that in the chat as well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate your support.
Thanks, Jim.
Awesome. Well, next up, we have Patent Portfolio Builders. Mike Loving has been a great part of our community for the last several years now. IP, intellectual property, patents, really difficult subject. That's always like the chicken and the egg type of scenario. When do you do this? When is it too early? When is it too late? Mike is the guy. Mike, they understand founders. They understand the complications that are involved with it. And anytime there's a question, Mike has always been there. Patent Portfolio Builders they're great. They share that founders first mentality. I can't say enough great things about Mike, about Patent Portfolio Builders and everything that they have done for the community. And without further ado, I want to pass this over to Mike so that we can hear more about you and the services that you can provide.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate all those wonderful words. And thank you for putting this all together. None of this happens without you as well. And thank you to all the other sponsors out here for all that you guys do. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. And also, most importantly, thank you to all the entrepreneurs out there who are watching us today. Without you and what you bring to the ecosystem and your drive and passion, none of this is really possible either. So thank you guys for out there watching. Tell you a little bit about our firm. As Tim mentioned, we are an intellectual property law firm, so we can help you with your patents, trademarks, licensing, any other intellectual property questions you may have. A little bit about our firm. We have 10 attorneys. We do everything from electronical to mechanical engineering. We do everything from 5G to gas and underwater drillings to medical devices. We do everything except for pharmaceuticals. That's the one thing we don't do. So if you're out there making medicine or pills, we don't do that, but we do everything else under the sun. Another good thing about our firm is all our attorneys have 10 or more years experience. So if you come to us, you don't have to worry about that your project or your IP is being handled by a junior associate, someone that's only done 1 or 2 patents, and sometimes that happens. You have the peace of mind it's being done with someone that's done hundreds of patents before. So that's another thing. Some of our clients that we work with, we have experience working internationally. We work with Fortune 50 companies. We work with Ericsson. We work with Google. We work with major universities internationally. But we have a strong desire and passion for working with startups. And that's kind of where I'll go real quick, where this journey started. We started going down working with Old Dominion doing lunch and learns. And then I got to meet Tim, and we've worked with 757 Startup Studios and 757 Accelerate, who you'll meet later today. And those 2 organizations are amazing, great champions for startups, so I can't speak enough to. And sorry about that. Forgot to put the phone on vibrate, silence. But as I mentioned, we work with the Dominion Energy Innovation Center, and we come from a place of learning and education. We do free IP seminars because we want you guys out there to understand IP, for it not to be scary, for it not to be, lawyers and worry about that. We're a very laid back law firm. If you come to us, our managing partner, Steve, jokes, if you want him to wear a suit, he will, but he's going to charge you extra. So we just want you to know when you come talk to us, we want to give you the strategies that you need. So you might not be ready for a patent right now, but maybe in 8 months you will be. And we want to give you the blueprint and foundation. So going forward, you know the steps you need to take when you're ready, or you don't accidentally make a public disclosure and lose all your rights. So if you need a consultation, we're happy to speak with anyone for free to see if IP is the right path for you, give you some great advice, give you some building blocks so you understand IP better. And for more information, you can go to our website, ppblaw.com. We have a startup resource page with videos and seminars that we've done, free downloadable content, so you can better understand IP. But please don't think IP is daunting or scary. You reach out to us. We're more than happy to help educate you, speak to you, give you a free consultation, and get you that strategy and game plan you need for if IP is not ready for you now, 8, 9 months, a year from now, you're ready and you're set to go. So thank you again for this time, and please feel free to reach out with me. More than happy to help. And thank you again, Tim, for putting this together.
With that said, Mike, so is it better for, we had a question here, is it better to reach out to you earlier versus later?
Earlier the better, because there's a lot of nuances. And the one thing you want to be sure of is if you don't do something that could hurt you down the road, as I said, you got to make sure when you give a public disclosure, you have a 1-year clock ticking to where you lose all rights after that 1 year. So we always tell startups, have the consultation as soon as possible so you can better understand what you're doing. We can tell you, oh, you have an upcoming pitch event. Oh, you're going to meet these investors. This is what you can do to protect yourself. Here's how to save your secret sauce. Here's the workaround so you don't give too much information and start that clock. Or you may have already started the clock without realizing it, and we can talk to you. Maybe now you only have 6 months to file, and we can work with you. As I said, there's many strategies, and we can break this down easier for you, but maybe you can file a provisional, which can buy you an extra year's worth of time. So when it comes to IP, the sooner the better. And like I said, if it's too soon and you haven't done any disclosures, that's fine. But at least, when you are ready 6 to 8 months from now, you'll know who to reach back out to. You can start putting that game plan in place so you are ready. So please, the sooner the better.
And another question, what's the most common mistake that people make when it comes to the IP patent process?
I think a lot of it is the first question you had. They wait, they put it off, they think it's too expensive, they don't want to talk to a lawyer, they this and that, and they end up losing their rights or most of their rights, or put themselves in a ticking clock where maybe now they only had 2 months because of a previous public disclosure. I think that honestly, that's the biggest problem is people not finding out the information ahead of time and protecting their IP by not public disclosing it, or putting these little safeguards in place and learning about some of the smaller pitfalls, which we can teach you about and let you know. But I think that's it, is not understanding how that timetable and clock works with public disclosures and losing your rights. So as I said, the sooner the better if you talk to somebody.
Awesome. And we have your information in the chat. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out directly to Mike through the chat.
Please, via email. I checked out a little more than LinkedIn. Please, anybody out there, we're more than happy to give you a free consultation, talk to you and work with you and help you. And if you have any questions, just ask me personally. I'm happy to take the time to speak with you as well. So no problem.
Yeah. And again, I can't share enough. A part of the thing that with Start Peninsula is these aren't just any resources that are up here. We do our due diligence to make sure that the people have the right state of mind, that they're in it for the right reasons. Everybody has their give before you get mentality. And Mike is definitely one of those people. I can't stress that enough. So Mike, thank you for your continued support and all that you do. Thank you. All right. Moving along. Next up, we have, we're going to turn things over to the ICAP program. We have Josh Green that's going to talk to us about ICAP. Acronym, lots of acronyms out there. And this is all about the lean startup methodology. Another real benefit of those that participate in Start Peninsula is this is, again, going through the progression of, you have an idea, you have to look to see if you can protect it. But then at the same time, making sure that you're asking the right questions. Josh is the guy. It's a Virginia sponsored program with the Small Business Development Center. I don't want to take anything away from your presentation, Josh, but thank you for your support and allowing our companies to enter the pipeline with you. And I'll let you take it away. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate it. I'm going to keep the conversational nature of the program going with not sharing my slides, but I'll cover a lot of great information. So as you just mentioned, we are a program of the Virginia SBDC, and we're housed at George Mason University. But as I'll note a little bit later, we cover the entire Commonwealth and support entrepreneurs all over. We do get some funding from the Small Business Administration, as well as from VIPC, which I see Dustin is here, Go Virginia, the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative, as well as Virginia Bio. So we have some great sponsors that are helping us grow our program. The main focus of what we do is providing one-on-one advising to Virginia-based technology and innovation-driven startups and founders. And we do that through providing long-term advising, all the way from ideation at the very beginning, right after you would, go through the Start Peninsula program, all the way through scaling and company growth. In the early stages, we focus on business model validation, creating a team that can execute that business model, building a minimum viable product, an MVP, securing some early traction, and forming the key partnerships that will allow you to scale. And then from there, it's working on preparing you for funding and organizational growth. By joining our program, you have access to our network of 15 highly experienced mentors, and they come from a wide variety of technical industries, have raised capital, have had successful exits, and cumulatively have worked with thousands of companies. We do offer a course that is an introduction to the lean startup methodology, and that's really focused on covering customer segmentation, value proposition design, customer discovery, and defining your buying ecosystem. We also do community monthly calls on startup related topics, and we bring in members of the entrepreneurial ecosystem throughout the Commonwealth to talk about their programs similar to this, to make sure that our community is as up to date as possible about what is available to them. We have previously done regional community reunions. We'll look to start doing those again later this year. And then we are restarting public presentations where anybody from across the Commonwealth can join virtually or in some select in-person locations. And the other main thing that we offer is connecting folks to resources and partners, including grant opportunities, accelerators, and investors, and most specifically at the time that is going to be most beneficial for them. So what does this ultimately mean for all of you as entrepreneurs? So our mentors and our mentor network is truly an unbiased group of individuals meant to provide guidance and support and connections for your efforts. Because they are compensated by ICAP and specifically tasked with helping companies prepare for growth effectively. Nobody's going to be trying to sell you any services. Nobody within our network is able to invest in Virginia companies. So again, there's that truly unbiased support just focused on your long-term success. By working with ICAP long-term, our mentors create institutional knowledge about your organization to more effectively provide that guidance. And each entrepreneur gets a lead mentor within our program and then has access as needed to bring on additional mentors to provide support, really creating an unofficial board to be able to help and assist your venture. Our mentors really help to avoid pitfalls and provide advice and support that you are able to ultimately make the decisions for your company, and what we call accelerating commercialization, and really providing the assistance needed to prepare for funding and investment, because most of our mentors are investors. Our introductory course, like I said, is focused on lean startup methodology and is taught by a highly experienced team that are practitioners as well in that approach. It's really an experiential learning opportunity to get out and actually do the work that you can apply to your venture. And it is allowing you to answer the questions that ultimately investors are going to want to know. The program is also a great lead into the various different accelerators in Virginia because of the knowledge that it gives you and the experience. It's also a great resource to be able to increase your likelihood of being awarded an SBIR or other federal grants, specifically because it's part of a lead-in program from the National Science Foundation. We have a partnership with the Mid-Atlantic hub for the National Science Foundation, and this is what is part of that process for applicable university-based teams to go to a larger national I-Corps program. However, those that go through ICAP, you get access to a resource that a lot of entrepreneurs throughout the country don't get. So that's a big benefit that we like to offer. Our community is made up of over 875 entrepreneurs that have gone on to raise a little over $92 million. And we're very proud of the success they've had. And they come from as wide a swath of industries as you can imagine. So cyber, big data, advanced computing, various life science realms, agricultural technology, clean tech, energy, really the whole gamut. And that is going across both software and hardware in some instances. And so again, as wide a swath as possible. We are similar to what Tim mentioned, an interconnected resource. So we work to help guide across the long term, but making sure that you're connected to the right resources at the right time. We're not a siloed off program. So we are all about working in partnership with other groups. That includes some of those who are joining us here today. So that includes investors, accelerators, incubators, universities, and economic development partners. So really wanting to make sure that entrepreneurs have everything that they need in order to be successful. So I will stop there and happy to answer any questions. And I know my information got put in the chat, so I'm happy to follow up with anybody who has additional questions as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh. Really, really appreciate it. And one of the things that's always so interesting is a lot of people are like, oh man, yeah, how hard is it to ask questions? Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not afraid to talk to customers. Some people are afraid to talk to customers, but those that aren't, they're like, oh yeah, I'll ask questions. But it's asking the right questions and framing those questions in the right way. You don't want to lead those potential customers in certain directions. So that's some of the really, really important stuff that that you're able to teach those founders. We have one question that has popped up on the chat: is ICAP virtual or in person?
Great question. So we have our main mentoring program is virtual. If you are located in the same area as one of our mentors, you certainly can schedule something in person. But because we have a vast network across the Commonwealth, we do offer the primary means of virtual advising. And then we do have some in-person opportunities. Last month, we did a program where it was simultaneously in Charlottesville, with an in-person event, another group that was hosted by one of the partners here, 757 Accelerate, to do also a hybrid in the Norfolk area. And then anybody who wanted to join virtually was able to do that as well. So we'll always be able to leverage the virtual component as well as try to be in person as much as possible moving forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Josh. Appreciate your continued support. If you have any questions for Josh, feel free to reach out either on this on this Zoom or once everything concludes. For those people that have to jump off, this event is being recorded. We will be sending out the rebroadcast to everybody so that you can refer to it later. You can re-listen to things that you want to re-listen to. Love technology when it works. So this aspect's working out really, really well. We're having some connection issues with everyone, but for those people, if you're joining us late, you will get a copy of the entire recording. So all is good there. And to all the panelists so far, well done on sticking to 5 minutes. My goodness. I mean, normally everyone goes really, really long, but we are just flying through everybody and we're ahead of schedule. So I'm just, there was, Josh, if you want to look at a question that just popped up in chat, I'm not sure if that was directed to you. But
actually, Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt him. I was going to say, I think I'm next, and that question's a great lead-in for the SBDC.
Oh, okay. We're actually going to circle back around, and we're going to kick things over to Hunter really, really quick, and then we'll jump back over to you, Jolie. But next up, we are going to talk about 757 Startup Studios, one of the newest resources that we have in the area. So like, if you circle back around where we've come so far, you had the idea, you're validating it, you're learning to ask the right questions, you know if you need to protect it or not, and now you're thinking about surrounding yourself with some like-minded people. You're going to pursue this idea, and 757 Startup Studios is a great way to do that. And we are now going to hear from Hunter Walsh, who is the person that is behind the scenes and running everything on a daily basis. So Hunter, over to you.
Thanks so much, Tim, for the opportunity to get in front and talk a little bit about 757 Startup Studios, which is part of 757 CoLab, a vertically integrated network that includes 757 Accelerate and 757 Angels. 757 Startup Studios really serves two purposes. So first and foremost, it is the front door to the innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem here in the Hampton Roads and 757 region. What does that mean? So we have key ecosystem support resources that are located in our offices, which are in the Assembly Innovation Campus in the heart of downtown Norfolk. So our support staff from 757 Angels, Accelerate, and CoLab is all housed here, as well as some of our ecosystem support partners. We're fortunate enough to have the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge, which is a super connector between the Navy and Marines, working out of our space, as well as the Hampton Roads Biomedical Research Consortium. So that is a collaborative effort reducing barriers, a collaborative joint effort between Old Dominion University, Norfolk State, Eastern Virginia Medical School, and Centera Healthcare, as well as some of our higher education partners like Old Dominion University. So it is a space and a community, but also in addition to that, that we are a selective early stage incubator type program currently serving 30 industry agnostic, growth oriented startup founders, surrounding them with all of the resources that you can imagine so they can focus on growing and scaling and validating their idea as fast as possible. So some of the resources that we're able to provide include averaging between 12 and 18 unique programmatic offerings monthly. That can be having subject matter experts in marketing, go-to-market strategy, design thinking, customer discovery, having very intimate founder conversations with founders that are maybe a stage or two ahead of some of the folks that we're working with, having the opportunity to really hear from investors in terms of what is an investable startup, what milestones and key metrics you need to hit to be able to get there, as well as leveraging our mentorship network of over 200 mentors so that they're able to connect with a wide variety of individuals with the goal of reducing obstacles and barriers so these startup founders can dip their toe in the water before diving off the deep end so that we're setting them up for success in their outcomes. If you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at the space, this is some photos of what the studios looks like. We're really fortunate. So Assembly has some tremendous resources that all of our founders have access to at no cost. So this is an investor panel that we had, the photo on the left there. We have a recording studio and then conference room spaces. So these founders, as they're meeting with their team members, potential investors meetings there, have all of this space available for them to use at no cost. Our applications are currently open for founders to move in and join our founder community later this fall. Why would someone want to apply for consideration? Rent-free tenancy for 6 months up to a full year if you are tracking the minimum requirements of the program and meeting your key performance indicators, As I mentioned, that you get mentorship and customized programming in office hours, as well as monthly check-in meetings there. We're industry agnostic, so we're looking for and work with any and all industries, looking for-profit, growth-minded, scalable startups there that are looking to take their idea and startup to the next level. This is my contact information. If anybody wants to connect and reach out to me directly, we are on all of the social media channels and platforms as well. Would encourage all of you to continue to follow and like us so you can stay up to date on the latest activities and happenings and what's going on in the startup studios and the Hampton Roads ecosystem in general. Thanks so much and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Hunter. We have one question that just popped in. When should you expect to hear back once you've applied?
That's a great question. So our applications have just opened up, actually open up officially on Monday. So it is a 12-week application cycle. So to answer your question, those founders will get notified on selection late October or early November for a late November move-in. And that would be when your 6 months rent-free tenancy would start there.
Awesome. Anyone else, feel free to pop any questions in the chat. And if you, you answered that question accurately. Thank you, Hunter. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and can make sure you connect. I can't say enough about 757 Startup Studios. It really is a great way to get plugged in. There's a lot that's going on. Really, really sweet space. I enjoy being there. It's appreciate all you've done for me, Hunter. Can't thank you enough. All right, moving on. You're in the space. You have yourself some questions. You're really not sure what to do. You want to get another view outside of all the resources the Startup Studios has. The Hampton Roads Small Business Development Center is a great place to get plugged in. Another statewide organization where they can tap into another vast group of people to help you along your way. And for many of you, I suspect this will be the first time that you get to meet the new executive director of the Hampton Roads Small Business Development Center. And with that said, I want to kick things over to Jolie.
Thanks so much, Tim. I am new. I've been here about 6 weeks now. And so it's really terrific for me to get to see some of the other amazing folks that are operating in this small business entrepreneurial space. I think that Hampton Roads has a really terrific ecosystem for that. And I am excited for the Small Business Development Center to be a part of it. You heard from Josh Green just before Hunter, and he talked a lot about the ICAP program, which is also part of the Small Business Development Center. It's under the umbrella of the Virginia Small Business Development Center. So they work all across the state, whereas our focus is specifically on Hampton Roads. So we cover a pretty wide geographic range here in Hampton Roads. We're over Williamsburg, Historic Triangle. We come down across Isle of Wight, Suffolk, picking up the peninsula, Pocosin, Gloucester, Hampton Roads, Newport News, over into the south side. I'm in Norfolk, but we also have offices out of Newport News, and we go all the way over to the Eastern Shore. So it's a pretty wide range geographically that we cover, and it's a pretty wide range of services that we offer as well. BJ mentioned on the chat earlier, gosh, I've kind of always wanted to be an entrepreneur. You probably have a lot of ideas, BJ, or things that you've thought about wanting to do based around your passions or just wanting the exciting lifestyle that being a small business owner provides. But where do you start? So lots of folks on this panel can be great resources for you, but so can the Small Business Development Center. We offer training, we offer programs, we offer classes, we have databases that can provide market and financial research. And just like Josh, we offer one-on-one business advice. It's all completely free and completely confidential. We are supported from our local municipalities, and we're also supported ultimately by the SBA. So we've got that same unbiased approach that ICAP does. It's just one of the tenets of the Small Business Development Center. I would say in addition to the advisors that we have on our staff here in the Small Business Development Center, we have partners like ICAP, but the Virginia Small Business Development Network, we've got centers all across the state. And so we have mentors that we can tap into around areas of specialty across the state as well. Virginia itself has folks, in addition to doing ICAP, that do food and craft beverage as a specialty, and also international trade as a specialty as well. So coming through the Hampton Roads Small Business Development Center, if we see that those would be good resources for the business that you have, we're always happy and willing to make those connections. And I think that some of our strength comes from that statewide network that we have access to. Some new programming that we're putting together, we offer our one-on-one advising can be done virtually via Zoom, over the phone, or we can do it in person, whatever works best for our advisors and for our clients. But something that we're doing new is we're starting some virtual series. So twice a month, we are now offering a class called Start Smart. And it's a way for folks who are new to business or maybe in the ideation phase of their business. They can go to this, it's about a 90-minute session, again, offered during the day and offered once in the evening, and help you get that really strong foundation that you need, talking about a business plan, talking about what record and bookkeeping looks like, talking about the importance of doing primary and secondary market research to validate your idea before you go out and lease a space. So look for those programs coming up. And we're also partnering with the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center based out of Charlottesville to do a virtual founders series. And that just kicked off this week. So it's a 5-session program. We did primary and secondary market research as the focus of our first session, but we're going to be going into marketing, validating your ideas, record keeping. So there's more information about that that's available on our website as well. To share a little bit about, we've been in business for more than 30 years now, but to give you a snapshot of some of the results we've had just over the past 5 years, we've helped 3,200 different small businesses. And this is everything from folks at that ideation phase all the way into growth modes, global expansion. We can help at all stages of development. $50 million have been raised in capital formation by the businesses that we've worked with over the past 5 years. More than 100 businesses have gotten their start after working with us. And we've had more than 1,000 jobs created and almost 2,000 jobs retained by the businesses that have worked with our advisors. They're some of the best advisors on the coast, and Hampton Roads. And again, our services are completely free and completely confidential.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great point in the sense of the confidentiality aspect of it. I mean, it's like some people, you don't want to ask some of those really personal questions in group settings or when it comes to the financial aspect. I mean, those are some sensitive areas. So if you find yourself in a situation like that, the SBDC is a great asset that you can talk to, that people that are really, really good at financial modeling. They know the numbers, they know the books, they know how to look at your books. Even if you're in a situation where like, I don't even know how to spell P&L. How am I supposed to figure out what I'm supposed to be looking at within this statement? The confidentiality is a great aspect of the SBDC.
Yeah, and it can be intimidating, especially for new business owners or people with that idea. There's so much that's coming at you, so much information. How do you sort through that and make sense for what's best for your business and what's going to give you that really solid foundation so that you can succeed? To make appointments with us, I can give you our main number, which is 757. I'll put this in the chat. It's 757-825-4079. You can also go to our website. I'll also put it in the chat, hrsbdc.org. And there is a request an appointment button. And that is that's the first step that you need to take to move forward with us. And thank you again, Tim, to your support. So Tim has been a business advisor for the Small Business Development Center in the past. So he's pretty familiar with our services, and we appreciate all the support that he's given to us throughout the years.
No, thank you. And this event as a whole is just really, it's just amazing when you see all the different organizations that are there to help entrepreneurs along their journey. I mean, it's really overwhelming. I remember last year when we did this, it was just like, my gosh, there's so many people that are willing to help. So to the founders that are listening, lean into that vulnerability, leverage that as a strength. I say it all the time, but there are so many people that are willing to help you, that want to help you, that want to see you successful. But unless you tell folks that we're listening to today what help you need, they don't know how they can help you. So do reach out, contact them. And this is the whole journey along from the very, very beginning to help you become more and more successful along the way, especially as we continue to progress. Now you're with the SBDC, oftentimes you're generating some revenue and you're moving down the road, and the nature of these questions continue to become more difficult. They become more complex. So I just love this Meet the Resources event that we have, because there's so many people that want to help and see other people succeed. So Jolie, thank you so much for your support. Everything is in chat. If you want to make that appointment, I encourage you to reach out. So thank you so much. And we're going to shift gears a little bit. One, I want to address those people that, if you, to the founders, they have an idea, you haven't raised any money, you're really looking to validate your idea, and you are looking for that starting point. It's really, really easy for people to say, go ahead and pitch your business. Well, what in the world does that even mean? How do I pitch my business? What are the things that people are looking for? We have a workshop that is designated for that. We call that Pitch Perfect, and we offer that 4 times a year. The next one is going to be September 1st, I believe. It is free. We're going to teach you all the elements that you need to pitch your business, and that is purposely designed and scheduled to get you prepared for our next micro pitch competition. And that micro pitch competition, that is designed to help you validate your idea. So what's going to happen is we take 10 people. They have 3 minutes to pitch their business. They pitch to a panel of judges. It's followed with a 2-minute question and answer period. The top 3 then will advance to a final pitch event that takes place in November. And I lean into that discomfort. Learn how to pitch your business. Take advantage of the micro pitch competition. Advance into November. Get $5,000 in your seed funding. And now you're on your journey. It is everything that you make of it. So I can't stress enough. I've seen so many lives change. We have the 2nd largest cidery in Virginia as a result of Start Peninsula. We've had Instant Teams. They just raised their Series A. They raised $13 million. I mean, we've had people attend events at the White House. Just the amount of success that we see as a result of Start Peninsula is really, really awesome. The number of companies that then move on to an accelerator, which is the next step. Once you validate, you're moving down that road, you go to an accelerator if you're looking to invest money. So we're going to hear from 757 Accelerate later on down the line. But point is, participate in Start Peninsula. Go to startpeninsula.com, sign up for Pitch Perfect, learn how to pitch your business, sign up for a micro pitch event, pitch your business, get that validation there. And please do take advantage of it. One thing that's cool is there's a lot of the maker movement has taken over in a lot of different places. You hear a lot about 3D printers and laser cutters and all the cool hardware out there needed in the maker movement, but that stuff is really, really expensive. So where do you go if you want to learn how to use such machines to make things? You need a resource in order to make everything so that you can sell them. Well, we have a really, really new resource that's on Fort Monroe, and it's called 757 Makerspace, which is a 2nd location from the Norfolk location. But Beau Turner is going to talk to us about the Makerspace, Beau's been a great friend for a long time. I think that we may have talked about this when you're in the ideation phase of 757 Makerspace, what it's all about. And the space is super cool. I want to turn this over to Beau so that we can hear more about 757 Makerspace.
Hey, thanks a lot. And thanks everyone for participating with us. As Tim shared, I'm Beau Turner with 757 Makerspace. And I can tell you from being on the other side, now that I have an established business, what it was like to take an idea. Tim was literally the second or third person that I had kind of pitched the idea that, hey, I'm thinking about actually making the Makerspace. We were on a road trip at another pitch event over dinner and got a chance to share that. Before I go further, audio quick check, everything sounding okay?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. And one of the things that is, you kind of take this idea and it might just be something small or something that maybe you want to make or create, or just that idea is in its infancy stage, right? And a lot of us are very vulnerable during that stage. So being able to share that with somebody, find that support. And I can tell you from the earliest Start Peninsula, we've worked with people like Will at Bucky's Cider. I work with him on giving his presentation. I work with Dr. Lisa Fournier with that. And many other people that have been participants have gone on. Some of those ideas take, some of those ideas might morph into other things, or you meet other wonderful people to be able to work with. And that to me is what one of the assets here with 757 Makerspace really brings. If you have an idea, something that you want to make or create, maybe you're a hobbyist and you just need access to a wood shop, and maybe you need access to an electronics prototyping lab, or maybe you need 3D printers or CNC machines or laser cutters, or any of the myriad of tools that are available here. And we've got two facilities. We've recently opened a Fort Monroe facility, which is where I'm at today. We also have a Norfolk facility that has been open and running for the last 8 years. And as a member, we are membership based. You get a chance to come in, you pay a small fee, and you get access to everything inside of both of our locations. If there's a tool or specialized piece of equipment that you need that's at one space or at the other, you just go to where that tool or that equipment is. There's also studio space if you want to run, or over to my side, there's a sewing lab. There's people working over here today building products that you've got a chance to come and look at the stuff. And if you don't know how to use this or the tools, we'll teach you enough to be dangerous. So if you have an idea, something you want to make or create, and it feeds into wonderful things like people to work with Mike Loving on IP. So if you've got something that you want to develop or make or create, or if you're going to work with Jolie, or if you're going to work with Hunter or any of the other people that are on this call, reach out and leverage. The biggest and best asset that we have through Start Peninsula is through the community. And the Makerspace has a wonderful established community of makers who come in to design, prototype, and make these things. But more importantly, is we work together to support each other to be able to do this.
What is there a membership component to this? I believe there is. I would love to hear
Sure.
about that.
Yeah, so the way that we operate is there's a membership. You can do monthly, quarterly, or yearly, and you've got 24/7 access to 44,000 square feet full of tools and equipment to come in and make anything you want. So you can work around your schedule. If you have a day job and you need nighttime access, if you are a bartender or if you are restaurant staff, you've got nighttime hours, you need daytime. If you need to work on this bright idea at 2 o'clock in the morning, you've got 24/7 access to come in and work on this.
And with that, I would be, well, here's a question that has popped in. How
Oh
large?
yeah, Jody. Oh, that's a great question. How large can your project be? So we've got 44,000 square feet. I will tell you a couple of projects that are outside the norm, right? Things that push it. You've got small things that people can make and create. You've got bigger things like in the Norfolk space right now, we've got a 1970 Fiat. We've got a 1943 military Jeep, a 1941, 42, and 43 Harley Davidson. So we've had 10 school buses that people have converted into tiny houses. We built a 55-foot tall wooden birthday cake that's about 50 feet across for Burning Man. So you can build a pretty big, really the answer is as big as you want or as big as we need.
Yeah, that is super cool. I would love to have seen that, the birthday cake. That would have been pretty wild to see.
We've got good pictures. We'll tell you, when you build big projects, especially things out of wood, and you build them, take them down, build them again, and you have this enormous structure, Burning Man is a wonderful opportunity to not have to take it back down. And so that project was burned at the end and finished. We will be back out there with another project this year as well.
I'm sure it does. Does it work both ways? If you had people in your space that started as tinkerers and then they found that, man, I can put a business around this.
Yeah, so right, it's sort of that bubble effect. People will come in and they'll make something for themselves, right? It could be like, this little, desktop organizer. person that makes this, a few other people ask about it, right? So that traditional route of you make something for yourself, you make something for friends and family, and then it starts kind of catching on. At some point, you have a scalability issue, and that's where we can come in and help you. So let's say you want to 3D print something, right? So 3D printing something like this, if I wanted to make one of these, it's a process, right? 3D printer is great. If I want to make many of these, let's say I want to make 10 of these, 100 of these, the 3D printer is a slow process. Now we can get into molding, casting. Now we can create duplicate parts and pieces. If we want to scale up beyond that, we get into plastic injection molding. We can use a CNC machine, which is a digital cutter. There's all these different tools that now we can scale this idea up. We can test that business idea, and then we can go out and sell these in different locations. And so it does give you that starting path to be able to then move up with your product. We've had many different companies. Let's say we probably have, gosh, at least 50 companies that have been started through the Makerspace and that have gone on to create products. And some of those are rock stars, right? So you got people like Ardent Candle. Kobe and his team started making candles in his parents' garage at 15. He's now on track to do $1.3 million in candles this year, right? He makes the candle that looks like a bowl of cereal. You smell Fruit Loops, you taste Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the back of your nose, and with that, but all the pieces that show that cereal and those things were made from molds that were created at the Makerspace during this time there.
Yeah, that is super valuable in terms of, is there like a limitation when you have a membership there? Is there a limitation on how much you can use a 3D printer, or how does that process work?
Real easy. We've got scalability, right? We just add more 3D printers. If there's a specialized piece of equipment that you need to reserve, there's a reservation system. You can go, hey, next Thursday, I need to reserve this piece of equipment from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then the rest of the time it's available. So you can reserve it. And if we start seeing a backup, we just add more equipment.
Wow.
Hey, Tim, I have a question.
Please.
I was wondering, I'm sorry, but you might have already covered this and I missed the first part of you speaking. Someone like me, I have no clue how to do anything of creative building nature. That's just not in my genes. If someone comes to you and they're not a tinker, do you have classes or do you help show them how to work the equipment or guide them through that process? How does that work for someone who has no clue how to use this stuff, but has a great idea that wants to use the equipment?
Sure. So we kind of handle it. Everybody's a little bit unique, right? So typically what happens when somebody comes in to join, we'll take a tour, we'll walk through the facilities, whether it's the Norfolk, Hampton locations or both. You'll get a chance to see that. We talk about your project along the way and where these things will specifically fit, right? So if you sign up on our website, 757makerspace.com, under there's a tour option. It asks you a couple of questions. That's just so that I understand kind of what it is you want to do or looking at. And if I'm not the best resource to give the tour, I'll handpick one of our other employees or sometimes a specialized member to be able to talk about that. We'll talk about what it is where it is that you want to get to and fill in those gaps backwards. Sometimes just a simple class, but other times it might just be by being around people that have that experience or can show you how to use that tool or could give some feedback. Hey, you're doing it this way. This might be another way to be able to work on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Easiest way is literally just come take a tour. I'm happy to sit down. And if we are not the right resource or it's a specialized tool that we don't have, we're happy to point you to another location that can do that. We work with lots of different small boutique manufacturing places around the city as well.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Do you offer engineering services?
That's a good question. The easiest answer is no, but I will teach you enough to be dangerous. And what I mean by that is, right, if you have a design that you want to make, but maybe you need to 3D model it, or you want to actually like look at that piece digitally, and then you want to make that thing physically, we'll give you the tools to be able to do it, but we are not a for-hire firm.
And what are you?
Much happier empowering you.
Awesome. What are you guys doing as far as textile recycling?
Recycling. Textiles, most people here, as far as the textile side, we've got everything from, I'm looking over my shoulder here as somebody sewing in the distance here. We've got sewing machines. We've got other machines to be able to cut stuff. We've got special leather working tools, just as I'm looking around here. So I'd say that's still growing. We haven't gotten to the point where we need to recycle anything. We do have industrial grinders. So as far as plastics or other material, you can drop those in here, turns them into tiny pellets. On the plastic side, right now, we can remelt those. They become 3D printer filament. They can be pressed into sheets. They can be used for plastic injection molding, all essentially with free material. But as far as the sewing textiles, we don't have a lot of scrap. Members come in, they use their stuff, and then they take their items away with that, right? So they pay for their own consumables. There's always extra material we have, but we haven't got to a point that we need to recycle anything other than members, or other members then pick up and use that extra material that's left behind. But that's a really good question.
And where are you located on the peninsula?
Oh yeah, so our oldest location is, for about the last 9 years now, is in Norfolk. That's where we got our first start at, and we're over on 24th Street, right next to O'Connor Brewing. And our newest location is on Fort Monroe, courtesy of a wonderful bunch of partners to be able to make this happen. And so we're right on Fort Monroe, right between Firehouse Coffee and Ouzel Finch Brewing.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting thing. You have two locations, both up next, they're next to breweries. Is that just location?
Both locations next to a brewery and a coffee shop. So I think it's that bookend between each that makes that start your day at the coffee shop, come and work, and then finish the day out. What I tell people is, I want you to start in the wood shop and then go to the brewery, not the other way around.
That's great. Beau, I can't thank you enough for all the support that you have provided. I mean, just to see the space, to go into the Norfolk location and see the old school bus in there, and you're like, what in the world is going on there? And to see what they're doing to turn into a tiny home was really, really cool to see. Every time I'm in there, there's always something.
Every day
crazy.
There's something new. And I will tell everybody, it's the community aspect. When you've got people, and many of the people are still on this call, Dan Girouard was instrumental. Dan, thank you so much for your help in helping us to get the space here in Fort Monroe open. But it does take a community. All of the people, the mentors, the resources that are all here come together to help everybody with an idea and really take advantage for every participant. I can tell you, make sure to go to the Pitch Perfect events. If you get an opportunity, go to the micro pitch event. Those are fantastic and wonderful. You need help. People are here to be able to help you do that stuff. On behalf of myself and the rest of the Meet the Resources, thanks Tim for putting this together.
Yeah, and really to add to that though, I mean, like the drill. You started this. You've been very successful. But if you start as that tinkerer and you realize that you can put your business around something, this is go to Start Peninsula and leverage it and see what you can do. I mean, it's a great way to do it. Oh, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, just feel free to email me directly down below.
Awesome. I just saw Ian Frazier pop on, and we're going to turn everything over to Ian. But we heard from Hunter Walsh a little bit ago from 757 Startup Studios. Everything is under the same umbrella. But 757 Accelerate has been a really great partner. We've talked about this journey that people take as they travel down the entrepreneurship road. You've validated, you've talked to the people, you're generating some revenue. You realize, hey, I want to put a little gas on the fire. I want to, maybe raise some money. I'm not sure how to do that. I know that I need to prepare myself to raise money. Well, 757 Accelerate is the place to be. And we're going to hear more about what 757 Accelerate is. Ian, I appreciate your time. You're in the midst of onboarding or deciding who this next cohort is going to be of companies, but I'm going to turn it over to you so that we can hear more about 757 Accelerate.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for that intro. Unfortunately, Hunter is a much better speaker than I am, so hopefully I won't bore people. But so 757 Accelerate is a 12-week mentor-driven program where we give $20K of non-dilutive capital to each company in the cohort. The cohort usually consists of anywhere from 6 to 9 companies. So in terms of stage, to give a little bit of light to what Tim was talking about, we prefer to have at the lower end, at least the company needs an MVP. A lot of the value that we can give to a startup is connecting them to potential customers. So if they aren't at a stage where they can't pilot or they can't potentially sell their product during the course of the program, they're just a little bit too early for us. And at the later stage end, if they're already at a Series A level, they no longer are really applicable for us because they should really be hiring and scaling their business as opposed to attending, the multiple workshops we have every week. But for our programming, every week we focus on on something a little bit different, whether it's your financials, your legal, your marketing, your branding. We try to we attempt to fill in the holes in your business. So by the end of that 12-week program, you are in a compelling investment for our 5-city investor roadshow at the end of the program. We are preferential to Hampton Roads and Virginia-based companies. We are different than the Angels or the studios in that we'll take companies out of state and really try to bring them here. But on average, more than half of our companies are from Hampton Roads or from the greater Virginia area. There's some different 757 groups. We try to be a resource for entrepreneurial, like every entrepreneur in our region. So if you ever think we can connect you with somebody, please feel free to reach out and ask. If I don't respond immediately, it's not because I'm trying to ignore you. It's because I've already made too many promises to too many other people, and I'm trying to deliver on those promises. But pinging me more than once is not annoying at all. It might just be required sometimes. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll go ahead and throw my email in the chat if anybody wants to reach out.
Yeah, one of the things to note is that the competition is pretty tough. How many people applied for the last cohort?
We had 156 finalized applications, and then over 300 not opened applications.
So to give you all some context, as Ian said, if they're taking 7 to 9 companies out of 156 that applied that were legit applications, you have to have everything in order. This is not a given. So this is why we deliberately established this roadmap and want to make sure that you are aware of the resources that you have so that you can increase your chances of being accepted into a program like this. What an opportunity to go through a program and then go on an investor roadshow. So you're going to 5 different locations and talking to investors so that you can try to raise money. What kind of success have you seen from you all have raised quite a bit of capital as a result?
Yeah, so some of our success metrics, we've raised our alumni of 25 startups have raised in total over $52 million. They've generated over 18 million in revenue. They've raised about 18 million in non-dilutive capital as well. It's a little bit heavy. It's heavy weighted with the SVT raise. SVT Robotics, a company that's based in Norfolk, raised $25 million last fall in their Series A at $100 million pre-money valuation. So they're our golden child right now. So, but we're focused on getting more than one golden child. So yeah, we have diversity metrics that we're very proud of. We have over 80% of our companies have at least one underrepresented founder in their C-suite. That's something we were very intentional about doing since the beginning, and now it's actually the past few years it's been very organic. It's been interesting. We try to lead with that idea of interconnected and inclusive experience here, and it's sort of just manifested naturally now.
Yeah, and I would like to thank you and Evans, both of which have been judges on our micro pitches and our final pitch events. So again, we do things really, really deliberately at Start Peninsula. And again, part of that roadmap and how you get to where you need to be, we want people like Ian and Evans to be judges because we want to make sure that the companies that are going through Start Peninsula are on the radar of 757 Accelerate. You heard from Ian that, hey, we really want to focus on Hampton Roads companies, Virginia-based companies. So what better way than to have them as judges? They know what they're looking for. And then now you're on their radar so that when it comes to application time, they already know who you are. That's a big thing that's already been established. How often do you have cohorts?
Right now, it's just once a year. We're in very early discussions to do some pre-accelerator program potentially in the fall and the spring of next year. But right now, the standard accelerator program that we've been doing for a few years and we'll be doing in the fall, that is just once a year. Applications will open again at the tail end of April. And then we do, about 2 months where we open applications. And, right now we're in the middle of screening those applications and going through that process. So, yeah.
And for those that aren't aware, the $20,000 in non-dilutive funding, that means that you get the $20,000 and 757 Accelerate does not take any equity away from your company. So if you go in with 100%, you're going to leave with 100% unless you raise money during the roadshow.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We are a nonprofit. Our job really, our success metrics are the company's success metrics. So I think it's important for us to really position ourselves as a support role and somebody that these startups can feel like they can tell us our weaknesses or their weaknesses to us, because that's the only way we can really help them. So like the first week of the program, they do a few different leadership and strength-based tests. And that sort of allows us to understand the dynamic within their team, how they receive information, how they, prefer to relay information, and the different characteristics of different personalities within that team. But it also makes people be sort of like brutally honest about themselves. And it brings down that wall of trust a lot of founders can have if they've been in a bunch of investor meetings where, they've maybe been the weaknesses in their company have been exploited, and maybe they feel like they can't show that weakness anymore. But I swear, like every cohort, somebody cries, somebody breaks down, and it's not necessarily just because of the company. A lot of times, a loved one dies, or you put your kid's college tuition into this company and you can't sell anything. And it's the sum of all things that really breaks the back of a founder sometimes. And we have to play that role of almost like a therapist as much as a startup consultant. But I don't think we would have it any other way. That's the rewarding part, is when we really lean in for somebody that needs it, and then they find the success that they're looking for. That's really why we do this.
100%. One last question for you. How is the program going to be structured this year? All virtual in person?
It's a hybrid. So people that are out of the state, we only require them to be in person for the first 2 weeks. And then the last 2 weeks during the investor roadshow, Hampton Roads members will be there in person pretty much every day unless they have an excused absence. But I will say, even the people, historically, the people that have participated mainly virtually wish they came in person way more often, just because there is that, cohort effect where if you're just working in the same space as somebody, even if you're doing your business does entirely different things, there are overlapping problems that you guys will deal with. And just having the casual conversation when you're, eating food about, hey, this dev shop, quoted me this price. Is that even a normal price? And then another person says, that is absurd. I know a great dev shop I can refer you to. So, it's just little things like that you don't get when it's in a fully virtual environment.
Awesome. Any other last questions for Ian? This is a big step for folks, and I love to see when numbers are so strong when people are applying. But we got to keep on applying, keep those numbers strong, and there's a lot of great things happening within Hampton Roads, and we need to ensure that we continue to leverage that program. And I can't wait to hear the results for the next cohort once that is released.
Me too. I can't wait till we get there. It's been a long time coming.
That's great. Well, Ian, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And Yeah, I look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim.
And with that, the next one, a part of that roadshow and a big funding source for a lot of companies. It's been great to see a transition, both from a branding standpoint, but also from the number of companies that have been working with the Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation. Used to be, gosh, now I'm blanking. It took me so long to learn the new name, and now I'm blanking out on the old name. So that's probably a great thing. But VIPC has been it's a great source, and it's a next logical place where you can go to try to raise money from the state level. We have Dustin Dunbar with us from VIPC, and is going to talk to us about some of the services that they can provide from the state level. So I'll turn this over to Dustin.
Hey, thanks, Tim. Yeah, so formerly we were the Center for Innovative Technology,
Yes,
CIT. So I'm glad now that you've forgotten that name, and we are now VIPC. So within VIPC, I'm an investment associate within the Virginia Venture Partners. And I'll talk a little bit about VVP before I move into the larger picture of VIPC. So within Virginia Venture Partners, we are Virginia's seed and early stage venture capital fund. And our main mandate from the Commonwealth of Virginia is to invest in high growth tech companies that are based here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Essentially what that means is we are a double bottom line fund. So not only are we looking for returns on the investment we've made, but we're also looking to be a catalyst for private capital in the economic development sphere. So, what do we invest in? Tech companies based here in Virginia. It's very broad based when it means to be tech. So that could be an application, that could be deep tech from, water filtration systems for fracking to myriads of other, types of software plays. So we have pre-seed funds and seed funds, and we have 6 different funds, 3 of each in those categories that are focused on people coming out of the could be a startup studio like 757 Startup Studio, 757 Accelerate, coming out of Lighthouse Labs. Then we also have a fund that's dedicated solely to female founders and minority founders. And then we have our later stage seed funds, which are focused mostly on the type of technology that it is. And we invest anywhere from $50,000 to up to $1 million now. So we've been broadening how much we can invest in as well. And typically what we like to do is, as any venture capital firm, you'll see as you start to approach that stage, is we like to kind of hold some board observer rights. We won't sit on a board. But what we do like to do is syndicate. So we're always happy to lead arounds if that's what you need. Always happy. No, it's dilutive. It's a full-on venture capital investment. So it'll be either through 3 different vehicles. You'll have your simple agreements for future equity, which it will convert in at a later stage valuation if you're fundraising again at a later stage. Then you have your convertible debt, which is a convertible note. Typically, that'll be at a premium interest rate. Just think of it'll be like 8% discount rate if you don't hit the valuation cap for a later date or a later raise, or there's a valuation cap if we'll come in at a later time. And then there's just straight up seed equity. Hey, we're gonna invest $100,000 at this valuation. We'll take 2% of the company based off of how much we're investing in. So excuse me, I've got a little bit of a head cold here, but so it is dilutive. That's just Virginia Venture Partners within VIPC. So within VIPC, there's also other different funds. You have the Commonwealth Commercialization Fund, which is mostly focused on very early stage. If you're looking at creating a product and you're reaching a tech milestone, it is a up to $75,000 grant. And that's through the CCF of VIPC, and that is non-dilutive. And those are rolling emissions as well. It's a great team. We source a lot of deals from them, and we also push a lot of people to them as well. Then there's the federal funds that help out with kind of this SBIR, STTR aspects. Then we have the Unmanned Aerial Systems Center of Excellence. And then we have our cybersecurity initiatives as well within VIPC. So there's a lot of resources within the Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, not only the equity investments. But as far as our team is concerned, I've been there for about 1.5 years now. Awesome team. We've got about 8 members growing, and they've been together for almost 16 years. And we are the most active venture capital fund in the Commonwealth. It's something that we like to keep a hold on. So, happy to talk more about different types of investments, what we're looking for in those investments, be it pre-revenue, pre-product, post-revenue. And that's a little bit about us. So thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah, I would love if you could share a little bit about that in terms of what you're looking for. What do you define a pre-seed, a seed round? It seems, especially now, everything is kind of crazy and turned upside down in terms of valuations. Can you give us just a little bit of insight in terms of what does all that mean? I mean, we took now everyone that's listening, you can see that we took a big step forward. Now we're talking about real VC money. We're talking about giving up equity. And if you could share some of your insight, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, private markets have been hit by valuations. We've seen a little bit more of a back to fundamentals, I guess you could say. But however, early stage venture capital on a whole, it's been still pretty good. I think there's been some firms that have been pulling back, haven't been dispersing funds as rapidly as they have been, but valuations are, they're stabilizing right now. As far as like the stage of development that we're looking at, typically what you'll see is early stage people that are looking for grants, that non-dilutive aspect. Typically, they'll just have an exciting idea and a great business plan with a team in place, right? And what we're looking at is kind of that pre-seed and the seed stage. That's where we like to come in. And typically that means you've got a great management team in place, you're ready to execute the plan, and you're moving towards a final product. That's kind of pre-seed, right? So you're building that product and you just need some funds to kind of get it to market. Then there's also
how much for pre-seed? How much money does someone typically raise, and at what valuation?
So you'll kind of see right now in this market, you'll see that people are typically raising probably about up to $500,000. Sometimes in these really large spaces like that are way more exciting, I guess you could say, like Web3 blockchain, you'll see people raising up to, $1 million too, but that's typically on the higher end of valuations, 10 to 12 million valuations before even a product hits. But typically, your typical tech company is going to be raising probably about $500,000. And the valuation, if you're just going to run through the Berkus method, which is just kind of estimating your valuation by stage, if you've got a great management team in place and you're kind of ready to roll out your products here in a few, you're going to be raising up to $1 million or $2 million, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, up to about $500,000, and then your valuation is probably going to be about between 2 to 5. I'm sorry, so you'd probably be about 2 to 5, and then if you've got partnerships in place and you're about to push that and you are launching today, you'll see probably up to $10 million valuation in those tech companies, and you're probably raising about 2 to 3 million.
So one of the panelists have a question?
Yeah, I did, Tim, real quick.
Yeah.
Hi, Dustin. Thanks. Just wanted to let you know, look forward to catching up offline too. We have a lot of companies, as I said, we do patents and IP work for and everything. And so we really see their technologies and where they're going in different stages. For you guys, throughout the years, is it rolling for applications, might be the wrong word, or is there just a set time that you look to meet with these people and invest in? Do you have events where they can come meet you, or do you just or people just go to the website and fill out an application? How does that process work? Do you have any in-person things where you go out to find these companies, or they all come to you?
Yeah. So, hey, Mike, great question. So we've got way different styles. Thanks for bringing it up. We've got the Coffee with Virginia Venture Partners. It's a bi-weekly event. So it's held today at 9 to 10:30 a.m. And typically we'll have a panelist just kind of like this, but it's mostly going to be successful startups or venture capital firms that are kind of play in the Mid-Atlantic region. So the next one will be held on August 5th. That'll be the next coffee. That's a virtual event. It's free to register. Anybody can attend. Typically, we have like almost 80 to 100 people per event. And then we attend a lot of in-person events as well. So I'm located in the Richmond area. We've got Alex down in the Hampton Roads area. So you'll probably see Alex a little bit more than you would see me in the Hampton Roads kind of vicinity ecosystem. But then we also have our online application as well. And it's a rolling application. It doesn't matter when. We've got our fiscal year, but we're an evergreen fund. So it's not like we have to deploy a certain amount of capital, whenever. We're always taking emissions. So I will actually drop that in here in the chat with all my information as well. So you'll see the web form as well as my information and the CCF funds information and the team's information as well. So thanks for that, Mike. Great question.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
A question that I often get is, how much money should I even raise? I'm curious what your take is when it comes to how much money a company should raise.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Typically, what you're going to see at the pre-seed and seed stage is how much is it going to cost you to hire that team to develop your product. That's really what you're looking at. You've got and it's going to be probably about 12 months runway right now, because venture capital firms, angel investors are really, really looking for you to be cash conscious. Like, can you really make a return on the cash that you're getting in? And so it's really just all about how much it's going to cost you to attract and retain the talent to develop your product.
And I would even go, correct me if you disagree, but I would even extend that even further. If you can get 18 months of runway out of the money that you raise, I mean, just because deal flow it's taking so much longer to raise money now, just due diligence is becoming more and more difficult. That if you have 12 months and it's going to take a few months to do the roadshow and then to close the deal, it's interesting times for sure, but definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Tim, that's a great point. Cause you'll see it now where it's almost like you raised money, but then it's like all of a sudden you've scaled so fast, you got to get out there again and start raising.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. Just based on the pace, you could definitely extend it out to 18 months of runway. And then Jody asked crowdfunding versus venture capital funding. That's a really interesting question. So you'll see a lot of crowdfunding sources out there. Even now I think there's some push for debt crowdfunding as well, not just equity. So it's I would say that venture capital funds are probably going to be your best bet to actually get real cash that you need in the bank, right? Like to deploy and get to scale. Crowdfunding, I think, is more or less to show that you're gaining traction within the customer base. So it could be within Kickstarter. I'm blanking on some of the other ones.
WeFunder.
Oh yeah, WeFunder. Yeah. So I mean, those are great places to put your stuff out and market it and to see how much traction you're getting. But it's what we found from a lot of startup founders is that those terms that you see from the crowdfunding sites tend to not be that great when it comes to when you can actually get the cash and deploy it. Whereas venture capital firms, when these sign in that fundraise, and you could keep your fundraising open for another month or so. But typically, with the crowdfunding sites, you're going to see almost like 6 months to 12 months of having to keep until you can deploy those funds from that site. So that's what we've seen. So great question, Jody.
Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate all the support that VIPC has given Start Peninsula. Appreciate your insight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin. And now we're going to shift gears yet again. Not only are we moving kind of up the peninsula a little bit, but the next two presenters that we have, they're unique in the sense of they've raised, they've been there, they've done that, and now they have now they're giving back. And with that is Graham Henshaw. He's joining us from William and Mary. Graham's got a really great story. He's got a really cool space, and we're going to see a little bit about that space. So I'll turn it over to you, Graham.
Hey, thanks, Tim. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to echo the gratitude that's already been expressed for putting on this event. I've been listening in for the last hour or so, and it's just astounding how much support is out there, and to curate an event like this so that we can all hear it. I think this is going to be a really great resource to put out to the community. For those who might not be on the call right now, this is great. You mentioned that I've sort of been there, done that. That's been a while ago, but I just imagine if this amount of support was available back then, maybe I wouldn't have failed twice before I had the one success. So it's just incredible how all these resources are out there to help founders succeed and find their way. And so with that, I'll talk about what's available at William and Mary. And it's an exciting thing to be able to say that there's anything available at William and Mary for regional entrepreneurs, because folks may or may not know it's generally a bit more difficult than you might imagine to plug in into an institute of higher ed. And Tim was really instrumental in what we see today in our ability to reach into the community, so that our programming and resources are not just for students anymore. They are for regional entrepreneurs. They're for faculty, they're for staff. And that in large part came from Tim's building up what is Launchpad, the incubator, the regional incubator, and then a transition to where we operate that incubator now from the space that I'm in. So everything that I'm about to show you and talk to you about is available to a much wider audience than it was several years ago. And so it is students across the entire campus. It is faculty and staff from across the entire campus. And now we're really excited that it's also regional entrepreneurs. So I'm speaking to you from what we call the Tribe Square Entrepreneurship Hub. And like the Makerspace, it's bookended by really important other retail spaces. So we've got Wawa on one side of us, and we've got Chick-fil-A on the other. So we don't have the beer right here, but we did take over a bar to make this space. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that dings us. So the Entrepreneurship Hub is about 7,000 square feet of space where we want all of those different audiences to be together to share the programming and resources. Several years ago, we discussed the fact that we don't need a different mentor network for regional entrepreneurs than we do for our student entrepreneurs. We don't need a different set of workshops for regional entrepreneurs than we do for students. So we are curating these programs and events and resources, and we're opening up the audience that we can serve. So I'll real quick just walk through the space. Oh, it looked like you're about to ask a question, Tim. Awesome. All right, I'm going to flip my camera, and I'll quickly walk through. I'll try to speak to what you're seeing as I go. So there's the Chick-fil-A. So if you come, grab a bite at Chick-fil-A, and then you'll come into this main space. And this is where we hold most of our programs. So this is the bigger space on this side of the hub, and it's flexible. So if you come to an event where we feature an alumni founder, this is where it'll be. And now those kinds of events are open to regional entrepreneurs as well. So about every other week, we invite an alumni founder to come back. So what you see on the wall right there is a scrolling list of William and Mary alumni-led ventures. It's kind of a part of the William and Mary story we don't tell very often, but we have a rich history of developing founders of really great organizations. And they'll come back and they'll talk about the adventure they've been on. And that'll happen in this space. And all the entrepreneurs on the call are more than welcome to come. We also have breakout spaces here for workshop or conferences, kitchen area. So all of our events, when you're dealing with students, you've got to have food. And so all of our events typically have food. And so that's a great benefit to connecting in this environment here. As we go through the space, it goes from being like a really transient space where day to day there's different people on the backside. On this side, it's less so. We have spaces for student entrepreneurs to work on their ideas here. So this is our Tribe Ventures Accelerator. So they'll get 2 semesters of seat time here, a little bit of seed money. But the coolest thing about this is the proximity to the Launchpad Incubator, which is just through the doors here. So across the breezeway, what you see is another space, and that's the Launchpad Incubator, where we incubate regional ventures. And what we love about that is that they cross paths with our students all the time. So we're creating an environment here where they're just really opportunistic collisions between all the different audiences. And right before the pandemic, as we launched this new effort, we had 100% hiring rate of all the Launchpad Ventures hiring interns or multiple interns from our student population. So it's a really symbiotic relationship, and it's an exciting thing where I think there's benefit for all the different parties. So with that, I'll pause and see, Tim, if there's any questions. I can, since I'm on mobile, it's a little harder for me to see the chat. Let's see.
Yeah,
Go try. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, how many? It's like how many businesses can you work with at any given time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're actually seeing a shift in the couple of years that we've been expanding our audience. We've found that there are way more ventures who want to interact with us through our community membership tier. So we do have the ability to have full-time residential ventures across the breezeway in that other space. But we're seeing multiple, what our estimate was, many times over our estimate of companies that don't really need a space, but they want to plug into the William & Mary ecosystem. They want to get really plugged into the student population for internships. They want to get plugged into the faculty resources that exist here for expertise, particularly around science-based things. We have incredible faculty researchers here that are a resource. So on the community membership side, we kind of had unlimited opportunity there. It's not like we run out of office space for that particular membership tier. Whereas on the other side, we have 10 offices over there. And so, we'll run out of offices but we can accommodate as many people as possible. And we love that. All of our programming gets better when there are regional entrepreneurs in it.
Is there one of the things that I found that is a great demand for, are students eligible to work with companies, or is William & Mary really focused on, hey, studies need to come first?
No, absolutely. We place students in companies all the time. There is actually an increased emphasis in career outcomes. Some of you may be familiar with the Vision 2026 goals that we're marching towards as a university. And one of the 4 pillars there is careers, and getting students in internships where they get hands-on experience is a big part of that. And so we like to do that all the time. And we have a program we just launched last semester called a micro internship program, where we can place students in projects. Basically in a 4-week period, we can place students to execute a particular task. And so we did that last semester with Ferguson Ventures, with La Tienda, and there's no shortage of students who want to get that kind of experience on their resume, real world experience with a startup. We also have a summer startup internship program where we place students in startups, and we can also help subsidize the cost of that for founders and teams who don't have the ability to deploy that capital in that way. We can subsidize the cost of the summer intern.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really great, I mean, the quality of students is just amazing. It always just blows me away at how smart they are, just how forward looking. and the skills that they bring. One of the things that you teach is entrepreneurial thinking. Can you touch on that for just a couple of minutes? We're a little bit ahead of schedule, and I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So like the focus of the center is to equip entrepreneurial thinkers. So we're trying to develop the skills and the mindsets that entrepreneurs have. And what students and others do with that is kind of up to them. A lot of times they start ventures, but other times they maybe it's a student organization that they want to launch, or maybe they just want to differentiate themselves in the job market. What we've found is that set of skills and that mindset is really applicable. And so I'm just going to show you what those are. If you can just go like this, skills and mindset. So, a lot of our programming is meant to surface up these kinds of skills and different characteristics of a mindset. So when we invite those alumni speakers in, we're curating the conversation so we can see, what does improvisation actually look like? And they'll talk about a story like that, or what does it mean to fail wisely, and how does that actually feel? It's something for us to talk about it in the classroom. It's another thing for an entrepreneur to talk about it in real life. So those are the skills and mindset that we're really focused on here.
Awesome. Just double check in chat, make sure that we're good there, but
cool.
That looks like everything, but yeah, that's a great space. It was great to watch everything be constructed, and yeah, I can't wait to get up there to see the place filled and full of energy.
Absolutely. So if any of you are around the area, feel free to come on in. Fridays are really busy days with lots of programming, and you can go to our website to see the schedule of events. We're updating it right now. The schedule is getting finalized actually this week. So I know that our information will be put here and elsewhere, but you'll be able to find out when you can come by and plug into the programming that we've got here.
Awesome. Well, Graham, thank you so much. Thanks for your support.
My pleasure.
Look forward to talking to you soon.
Likewise. Take care.
Awesome. Yeah. Next up, we have another founder that who's been there, done that, raised a little money with the startup, is now giving back. We have Brian Owens from Black Brand, who's going to, I'm just blown away. I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple panels and talk to the folks that are involved with their incubator program or accelerator program. And just, man, the amount of energy. It's just, you really have to experience it yourself. I'm just blown away. I love giving back. I love being part of it. But Brian, I am so thankful that you were the first one to reach out and say, yep, sign me up for this. I want to be involved. And Black Brand is one of the newest organizations on the block. And can't wait to hear what you have to say and share about what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for even having me. And of course, thank you for coming to join some of our panels as well. So once again, my name is Brian Owens. I'm a multiple time founder, and right now my title is Program Manager of B-Force Accelerator. B-Force Accelerator is the accelerator brought to the community by Black Brand. We are the Hampton Roads Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. What makes B-Force Accelerator different is we're taking that tech, highly scalable accelerator model and bringing it right to Main Street. We are completely industry agnostic. We allow Main Street businesses, retail, nonprofit, and of course, still tech and startup, the whole gamut. Through B-Force Accelerator, it's a 12-week accelerator program where we host workshops every week and bring in experts to help solve just a host of business issues that all entrepreneurs will run into, from startup founders to founders who have been running their hair salon for 10 years or their restaurant for 8 years. the main two focuses of B-Force Accelerator is one, to expose entrepreneurs to the opportunities that are in government contracting to help increase revenue. And two, and this is the number one priority, to close the access to capital gap that has persisted in underrepresented communities for far too long. The way that we do that is, one, by hosting those workshops and bringing in our partners from the startup community like Tim, or bringing in our partners from the financial world. We have partners at Truist, at Bank of America, Dollar Bank. They really break down the requirements of accessing capital to these entrepreneurs and these founders. Then we use our team of experts to make sure that the entrepreneurs are meeting those requirements. They will have, over the 12 weeks, have absolutely free access to our team of lawyers who will go over any of their contracts that they've already put out there, or help them develop their business in new ways, restructure their articles of incorporation, restructure their entire organization. We also have a team of CPAs who will break down profit and loss documents, help them develop thorough 5-year financial projections, which entrepreneurs need, whether you're trying to access capital through private equity investment, or whether you're trying to get a loan from a bank or extended business credit. Either way, they're still going to need to see these 5-year financial projections. In addition to that, we offer them free access to our team of videographers, photographers, government contracting specialists, branding specialists, every aspect of business that you can imagine. We make sure that we provide those resources at no cost over those 12 weeks. Now, that's a lot of resources to wade through. So the final piece that we put right in there is a lead business consultant who guides them through the deliverables of the program and who helps facilitate those resources, leaning on their own expertise, knowing the best time to bring in a lawyer, knowing that best time to bring in the CPA, helping them develop things first before we bring in those experts, so that over those 12 weeks, we can see a significant impact, a significant growth within these founders and entrepreneurs. And just to make sure that we're having that lasting effect in the community, we track those metrics over 18 months after they leave the program to make sure that we're not only helping them while they're here, but we're giving them the tools to grow on their own and continue scaling on their own.
Man, that's awesome, man. I love the program. And what's the best way to get in touch? What's the best way to get involved? When's the next cohort going to start?
Okay, yeah, great. So right now we are in the 6th week of our current cohort. What you're looking at behind me is the 12 weeks all mapped out. I'm constantly trying to evolve the program to make sure that we're meeting founders wherever they are. But the new cohort will start in September. The new cohort will begin in September, but applications for that cohort are wide open right now. The way to apply is by going to blackbrand.biz. That's blackbrand.biz. If you click the B-Force link, you can apply now. The only requirements to apply to B-Force Accelerator is that you must have a business that is established for 2 years. That does not mean you need to be making revenue for 2 years, just that you can show us a SEC filing or a tax document that proves you've been established for 2 years, and you must revenue less than $2 million net per year so that you're positioned for us to help you scale.
Awesome. I thought it was just good. I just thought it was really great product placement that my name just happened to be over your shoulder, man. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's no problem. And if anybody wants to contact me personally, I'll put my info in the chat. It is brian.owens@blackbrand.biz is my email. And I'll even put my cell phone in the chat. You can text me. I keep it on me at all times. Tim texted me today. It's Just for everyone listening, it's 757-782-7967, but you don't have to rush to write that down. I will put that in chat for everyone. And even if you are not interested in joining the accelerator, if you just want to be involved in some way, feel free to contact me. One of the things that I believe in most strongly is strategic partnership. As you can see by me joining Tim today and Tim joining us in the past, I believe that it's really going to take this group effort for us to really uplift Hampton Roads to be one of those new growth centers.
100%. Well said, Brian. I can't thank you enough, man. I look forward to chatting soon and having you continue to be part of Start Peninsula, me continuing to be part of what you've got going on, man. It's awesome. And yeah, we're the rising tide, and man, it's gonna be an optimistic future for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I don't know, just a last thing, if anybody caught this on the news yesterday, Truist has decided to adopt B-Force Accelerator as their best practices for dealing with minority businesses across the Truist footprint. So we're going to continue to deepen our relationship with them and hopefully continue expanding across the East Coast and the South.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that tip. I'll make sure that we get that information and share it out across the StartWheel newswire.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, and with that, I'm going to change my hats real quick. I've talked to you about everything about the Start Peninsula side. The other part of my life that I do is on the StartWheel side. So that is startwheel.org. So we've heard from multiple people, and they all talked about they can't believe all the different resources, all the different support that's out there. It's a lot. It took a lot of coordination to make this happen. But again, to see how much support is out there to help you successful, it's really almost overwhelming. So what does what does StartWheel do? How can we help you? Yeah, my job is I'm your advocate. I'm the person to break down all the barriers for you, so that you can focus on building your business. And then we are that one-stop shop so that you can just go to StartWheel and then everything is there for you. So how do we do that? In one sentence, we consolidate, coordinate, and celebrate the entrepreneurial efforts taking place across the region. So how do we consolidate? We do that with it's one calendar. We list all of the events that are taking place. So everyone that you heard from today, they talked about all the different events that they're having. And this is the one place that you can see everything that's going on. And right now, it's amazing to see the growth and the amount of activity that has taken place over our region. And we average over 40 events month after month. If you look back a few years ago, there would be one or two events that would take place a week. Now it's almost 180 to the point now that there's multiple events happening all at the same day, oftentimes at the exact same time. So now people are forced to pick and choose what it is that they should attend to and how they can best use their time. So like with VIPC, the coffee meetups, they're on our calendar. The SBDC events, they're on the calendar. 757 Makerspace, it's on our calendar. So if you just go to the StartWheel's calendar, everything is there. You can see we segment everything out. If it's in person, if it's virtual, what organization, you can filter all that stuff for your convenience. Everything is there. So that's how we kind of coordinate and consolidate everything. But we're also a place, one of the biggest pain points for founders right now is how do I get the word out about my organization, about my business? How do we, I have a product release. We just hit a new milestone. Just like what Brian just talked about with the announcement with Truist. I mean, that's all big news. So StartWheel, we push out all the news that's focused on the startup, small business, early stage community. We push that out to everybody so that's the one place. If you just want to see all the cool things that are happening in our region and across, really kind of expanding across the state, now you can really see what's happening. from that news side, from that celebration side. We want to help amplify your voice. This is the place where you can go and you can see this is where we're going to celebrate everyone. If you have job openings, you can list your job opening, and we want to better tell the story so that when people are like, man, is there a startup scene in Hampton Roads? Well, if everybody lists their job openings, then we can see that. And you're like, wow, we have all this activity that's happening. Super cool. We have a podcast that we do every single Thursday called the Fervent Four Show. That's for the founders. We want to feature all the cool things that are happening so that we're telling the story on behalf of the region. So it's a great place that we give you access to that podcast. It's on our YouTube channel, startwheel.org/live is where you can see everything, or you can go to youtube.com/startwheel. All the previous episodes are there. But yeah, if you're raising money or if you want to help tell the story, then this is an evergreen piece of content that you have that you can refer people to listen to. Investors listen to it because they can get a deeper dive in terms of about the company, what you're doing, what problem you're solving, all of that stuff. It all works together. So if you want to be a guest on the show, we make it really, really easy. We're typically booked out several weeks in advance. So I invite you all to get on the calendar. But even with that, it's a ton of information. So please sign up for we do a weekly newsletter. It goes out every single Tuesday morning, and it recaps everything. Here are the events that are taking place this week. Here's all the news that happened last week. Here's the guest that's going to be on the Fervent Four Show this week. Here's the past couple guests that have happened. And then you can leverage that. It's made to be a really quick, simple read, scroll through it, RSVP to the stuff that you want to, read the news articles you want to, but it's really a great way for you to stay connected to the community. So please, I encourage you all to sign up for our newsletter there. And that rounds out our Meet the Resources event that we've had. Everything, so we came in right at the 2 o'clock or the 2 hour time frame, finishing right on time. Again, go to startpeninsula.com, register to participate in our micro pitch events. We want to make sure that you go to Pitch Perfect, do the micro pitch, advance, get that seed funding, enter this pipeline, take advantage of these resources. We'll get a copy of that recording sent out. We could not do this without the support of our funding localities, City of Hampton, Newport News, York County, James City County, Williamsburg, Poquoson. Thank you all so much. To our panelists today, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you for supporting the entrepreneurs. You all are great. Let's continue to work together. Let's help the founders. Let's make them successful. Really put Hampton Roads on the map. We can do this. We've made great strides. The best is yet to come. I can't thank you all. I'll give you 2 minutes of your time back. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.